Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we will discuss about the part 2. This is for the Databricks Certified Data Engineer Professional Real Exam questions. So let's see. I have already created part 1. It's there. I'll pin down the link over there so you can watch part 1. Now let's focus on the part 2. Question number 1. When the running in the existing job via Databricks REST API, which of the following responsibility globally unique identifier? So here keyword is unique identifier for the job. So if we run any job, we get the run ID, and run ID is unique for all the runs. Like it can be anywhere. So answer is going to be D. Question number 2. Data engineering team is noticed that partition delta table is suffering greatly. They are experiencing slowdown for most of the general queries on this table. The team tried to run an optimized command on the table, but this did not help to resolve the issue. Which of the following likely explain causes this slowdown? Here the keywords are partition the data lake table. So data lake table is partition. This is the one keyword. They tried to run the optimize command. They must have been tried. They tried it, but it did not resolve an issue. Let's see all four options one by one. The table has too many old data files that needs to be purged. They need to run a vacuum command instead. This can be true, so we'll just keep this option. The table is over partitioned and incorrectly partitioned. This required a full rewrite of data files to resolve the issue. This can be also possible. So partition, for the partition data, we should use low less cardinalized column. So if we are using a high cardinalized column, then it can be an issue. So this can be true. They are applying an optimize command on whole table. It must be applied on each partition. This is not possible. So if we apply optimize command, we apply on table instead of partition. They are applying optimize command without a Z order, but Z ordering is needed as a partition by column. Again, if we are table is already partition, and if you have partition Z optimize using Z order, then it won't make any sense. In that particular partition, we'll have only that particular data. So Z order will not affect because we have all the data. What Z order do? Z order the column which we are going to provide. Now amongst two, let's see. Vacuum command we can consider, but if we think about these two options, this will looking good because table can be over partition or incorrectly partition. Like if table is small and so many files are there, we have partitioned it by one ID, we are getting multiple files. That means that we are done wrong partition. So here the option is going to be B. Let's question. The question is data engineer at a healthcare organization manage a delta lake table patients record with the column. So we have column patient ID, name, department, and diagnosis. They want to create a user defined function that masks diagnosis column so that only doctor can view value of that column. Perfect. So column, we have to mask the column so that only doctor can view the data. Which of the following is correct? Let's see one by one. In option number A, they are using create function. They are in all the four options, they are creating a patient mask function. That's okay. Here we have to pass the column name. They have passed the doctors as a string, but we don't have a doctor as a column, so this option is not going to be valid. Option B, let's see. They are checking up is account group member D correct? Group is going to be there. So is account group members, is it a function on which they are checking? So basically in what we are doing, we are going to check if the doctor is that particular user is a member of doctor group or not. Then confidential. This is not true. We want a doctor to be see the diagnosis column. Others should not show. So this cannot be true. In the option number C, we can see they are given the doctors as a true and confidential. This is a true one. Let's see. option number C. Here is the explanation. First, take an input from diagnosis column. Perfect. Identify the correct user group. Here is the user group we are identifying. Compare with group with the doctor. So it will check with the doctor group present in the Databricks, and we have to add that member to this particular group. If the user group is equal to doctor, then display the diagnosis column. Otherwise, just display the confidential. That makes sense. Question number 4. A data engineer want to install a Python will scope on the current notebook session. So only the current notebook, any job associated with the notebook have access to that particular library. So basic funda is, if we wanted to install any library or anything in a Python notebook, we should use pip. We do not use fs, whl, python to install it. We use a pip. So we can use pip. So option is B. We wanted to look at the API documentation. You can check. So yes, you can see install library with pip. So you can, even if you wanted to, in the specific question they asked to install the Python library. So this one with the will file we can install it. Question number 5. Which of the following command allow all data engineers to perform insert reply? In the streaming table, we know we have to perform the insert reply merge operation. See, merge into orders using new order tables, join based on order ID, new table. So here the same thing is there based on the new order ID. If not match, then insert. Looking good, because if data is not matching with the already present with the data, we will insert. If match, then insert not true. If match, then insert not true. If not match, then insert. When match, then ignored. No need to write down this in ignored. This is not present over here. If not match, just insert. If it is match, it will just automatically ignore. No need to write this statement particularly. So option is A. Let's see question number 6. A data engineering team at a supply chain company uses a Lakeflow declarative pipeline (LDP) to manage the inventory data. The team maintain an append-only stream table, inventory raw, store raw inventory status information with the column, product ID, quantity, and event timestamp. A data engineer is tasked to creating a new table, inventory latest, to capture the real-time changes in the product inventory level from the inventory raw. The new table is included in the column product ID, current quantity, and the updated. Which of the following object would be suitable for inventory latest table? So basically, this one, just understand the key point. They are using a LDP. Okay. The team maintain a append only streaming table. Maintain the streaming append only with the column this one. A data engineer has to create a new table. They have already mentioned the create a new table. Inventory latest capture the real-time changes. So for the real-time changes, what we have to do, we have to select a streaming table over here. Materialize we cannot select, it is a view. Temporarily we cannot, live table is not there. So we can just select a streaming table. Here, let's see. A financial analytical teams manages a Delta Lake Unity Catalog transaction with column ID, amount, region, and account manager. They want to apply a row filter on this table so that finance team member can see all the transaction. First condition. Other user can only see record from US region. Perfect. So if the finance member is from finance team, he will see all the transaction. If it is not there, they will only see the transaction from the US region, not from any other UK or any other that part. So we will say, let's see how to write down the function. They are creating a function US filter in all four options. Perfect. And region, passing the region as a parameter, it means that we have to pass the column name. So that those are there. Now let's see. Return if account group member is finance tip. This is true. This is true. This is true in all four options. If it is true, so basically what here is this function. What if take is which will first check if it is true, then it will show all. If it is not, it will again then filter on the US based region only. This is not the syntax. When case when this is not the syntax, again this is not the syntax, this is not the syntax. They are not checking up on the region part. So yeah, basically the main part is about the syntax, and here the syntax is this one. Okay. A data engineer uses the following SQL query: grant modify on the table to HR team. Which of the following describe the ability to given by the modify privilege? So modify, we have already given them a modify privilege of the table. So what does modify includes? This is the question. So in this one, modify will include modify the data, add the data, delete the data. It will include all four. So answer is going to be D. You can see the documentation also. I'll just highlight it over here. Let me check modify. This one. Modify allow user to update, delete the data from the table. So here we can say answer is going to be D. Question number 6. A data engineer team needs to share the dataset containing social security number with the external analytics vendor. They want to ensure that the original value is not exposed while still allowing the vendor to perform the matching operation. To achieve this, they have implemented this one. So basically what they have the column analytical with the social security containing social security number. So they wanted to mask that particular column. They have written that these two line of code. However, this tool still expose the original value. Reason is that in this one, in the first line of code, df.original.with column, they have created the mask column, hash column we can say, using the SHA-2 function, and they are using bytes as a 256. They are already created. In the second line of code, they are directly writing it to the save as a table. What happened with the with column? With column will add the new column called as SSN hash. It won't replace the original column. Original column will be there. So the answer is going to be D. The column of the data mask instead of overwriting the original value. They need to use a drop statement SSN instead, either a drop statement along with that. So don't apply the numerical value. This is not true. Share function is not available in Spark. This is also not true. The core add a new column without dropping the original value. It must be followed by drop SSN command. This can be true, but this is looking more good. So instead of dropping the column, we can just add the override the original values. Here, what they are asking, the data analytics collaborating with the data analytics project using Databricks notebook. Currently, they are relying on the built-in notebook versioning feature within the Databricks to manage the certain some level of version control. While approach works with a small scale individual team, suggested they consider using a Git. Which of the following could explain the Git folder recommended over Databricks notebook versioning for the collaborating? Here, the Git folder ensures that the team always has the latest notebook version by automatically synchronizing. This is not true. We have to pull and push the code. Git folder Git folder support creating and managing the branches and developing a work which help to prevent accidental overrides and allow the multiple teams to work. This is correct. This because if we are using a Git or DevOps, we have a one main branch, master branch. On top of that, we create a new branches every time we work on it, and then we merge it with the master branch. This is true. Git folder provided AI generated code. This is not true. Git folder support resolving merge conflict automatically. This is also not true. We have to solve it merge conflict. So answer is going to be B. Answer number 10. A data engineer had noticed that the command Databricks notebook source file on the first line of each Databricks Python file source code push to the GitHub. Which of the following explain the purpose of this command? So basically what happens if we are writing the notebook file formatted IPYNB, and if we download that IPYNB file as a .py file, then we get this particular statement hashtag Databricks notebook. So it means that tells us the source is the Databricks notebook. And why do we use the .py file on the GitHub? Is that if we are using an IPYNB file on the GitHub end, it will deploy it as a JSON file. So if we are in the future, we are providing any PR or code review, in that scenario, they will compare the JSON data instead of actual code. So that makes situation much more difficult. So for the production part of GitHub, pushing it to the GitHub or DevOps, we use a Databricks .py file. So answer is A. In the question number 12, data engineer implemented autoloader stream incrementally ingest a large volume of JSON file from the cloud storage. They are written autoloader. By default, autoloader inferring the schema 50 GB or 100,000 of file it is covered. However, the data engineer wants to avoid resampling and reduce the cost of the schema inference in a subsequent runs while even sharing the schema over changes. So basically, here the scenario is we have the 100,000s of file, and every time it is using autoloader, it is inferring the schema, and we know schema inference is an heavy operation. It will first write the schema. Based on that, it will consider the data type in that scenario. So what we are doing, so we want to provide a manual schema in the Databricks. While using a cloud files, we get an option to store the schema at particular location and give the path. So what cloud file does, cloud file check the schema location on that particular for that particular string, and it will fetch the consider that one as a schema. Same as in the if we are reading spark.read.csv, in that one we can have the header true infer schema is equal to true. It will infer the schema, but same case we can also pass the schema in the same way we are doing with the clouds file, that is with the autoloader string. So option is going to be C. Here I just wanted to add a few more points, which is the most important point, I guess, and we should be consider. While loading the data, we get a three new option. If we are loading any kind of data, we get a three main option. Here the three main option is add new columns, rescue, failed on new columns, and none. When we are passing out the schema. If we are not passing the schema, it will only consider it as a null. But if we are passing the schema, it will consider add new column as a default one. What the add new column does, if there is any new column added, then string will fail and new column will automatically added in the schema location on whatever the schema location we are passing, so that the next run will not be fail. So add new column is that one. Fail on new columns, stream will fail. Stream does not restart unless we have provided manual schema update. So this is similar to add new columns, but in the add new columns, it automatically adds a schema on that particular location, whereas a fill on a new column, it won't automatically add on that particular schema location. So this is also in that scenario, it will fail. So we get a question based on that, like in which scenario string should fail or should not fail. That's why I'm focusing on this string fail. Third one is a rescue. Rescue. Let's see. Schema is never evolved and stream does not fail due to schema changes. All new columns are recorded in the rescued data column. So basically, if there is a new column, stream will not fail. Even schema changes there, schema will not be, but it just record the new column somewhere in the new rescued data column, so that for the further investigation or further analysis, we can use this particular column. In the none, it is a kind of rescue, but it does not evolve the schema. Even the actually it ignores the new column. It does not store anywhere in the system, and stream even does not fail. So this is the fourth case. So we should be please do all this more recursively. We'll see the multiple question on this one. Question number 13. Which statement regarding the checkpointing in the sparse structure streaming is not true? Let's see. Checkpointing with the write ahead logs mechanism ensure the fault tolerant stream processing. Checkpointings allow streaming engine to track the process on the stream. That's true. Checkpointing can be shared between separate stream. That's not true. Checkpoint stores the current state of streaming job to the cloud. So here answer is going to be C. Checkpointing cannot be shared between two separate streams. I'll just show you on the documentation. You can select checkpoint. Yeah, they are mentioned. Checkpoint are stream specific, so each state would be its own location. A data engineer in a call center needs to implement a SQL alert to track the value of status. They want to change the set alert on multiple columns. On the tickets table, the alert should be triggered when both of the following condition is met. The condition are the number of new tickets exceed 200, number of tickets under processing exceed 150. Let's see. Here, I'll just firstly show you what alerting is. For the alerting, I'll just mention to set an alert based on multiple column in the query implementation logic. Return a boolean value for the alert trigger. So we have to be consider only the boolean values, not the columns wise. Let's see in the so question number 1, we are using the sum adds new ticket status new, then 1 else 0 comma sum 1 0 new ticket. Okay. In the option number B, we are using select new ticket under processing. This cannot be because this is not going to be write down the boolean values. Again, fourth one new ticket plus under processing. This again, this will not give me the boolean values. Let's move on to this one. So case when the new ticket is 200, then 150, then 1 else. Here we are going to sum up this 1 1 1. If there are multiple 2, it will give me 2 3 4. So this is not again the boolean. This is only the boolean part. So answer is going to be C. Question number 15. A data engineer at a global bank manages changes delta log over customer account with columns. Okay. Customer ID, name, account number, credit card. They want to apply the mask to the credit card column so that the only analyst in the fraud detection department can view the actual value. To achieve this, they implemented the following user defined function. Perfect. So they have right under this particular function. In this function, they have created the function return the case when is account group member for the credit card account. So answer is going to be, so basically we have already created the function, we just need to apply that function to the column. So here pretty much simple, we have to alter the column, alter column, credit card, set mask, and card mask function name we have to pass. Question number 16, a data engineer is using a query profile in a Databricks SQL to investigate a slow performing SQL query. They want to find out which operation in the query are taking most time. Perfect. To apply the most query, we can use a top operator. I can only show you top operator on the documentation. See, in the top operator panel, we show you most expensive operator in your query. This is what we wanted. Answer is going to be D. A data engineer Unity catalog predictive optimize with the predictive optimization enabled. They are ensure which operation are automatically performed on this table. So basically in this question they wanted a predictive optimization to be automatic, but predictive optimization covered which function? So predictive optimization cover optimize, vacuum, and analyze. It should not be content Z order. So answer is going to be D. Under the A. Documentation, here we can see predictive optimization for the Unity catalog managed table. Again, predictive optimization is applied only on the managed table, not on the external table. This is also the one of the question you will see in the later part. What operation does predictive optimization done? It optimize, vacuum, and analyze. So, vacuum, optimize, and analyze. We already know about the what the functionality of optimize, analyze, and vacuum. Question number 17, a data engineer team at an enterprise organization recently completed the setup of a new Databricks asset bundle project. After successfully configuration the bundle with the CI/CD, the team wants to ensure the future automated deployment of production runs smoothly, reliably. In this scenario, which of the following commands should avoid running during the subsequent development? So here, init deploy, we need a deploy. So basically in the future we'll create some of the new bundles and we'll need a deploy. Validate, we also need to validate it. We also run it if we have any bundle. Init is something that when we created any project, we run the init command. So it is a initializing of that particular project. It will install all the necessary libraries. If we rerun the init command again, it might overwrite the project overhead, like whatever the initial commands we are installing. So init command should not be rerun for the next deployment. So answer is going to be C. Question number 18. A data engineer wants to create a job processing cells using a Databricks REST API. However, they sent by mistake a two post request to the endpoint. Okay. Which statement describe the result of this statement? So basically, they have the REST API and they have created the two post endpoint over here. If we are creating, write down the two post requests to create a same job, in that scenario, what happen? It will create the same job, but with different job ID. It won't fail or it won't overwrite anything. It will create a new job with different job ID. So answer is going to be D. Question number 19. A data engineer is responsible for managing a bronze data lake table in the Unity catalog. As a part of maintaining a data integrity and enforcing a governance policy, the engineer wants to restrict a modification on a table by disabling update and delete operation. Which of the following command can the data engineer uses to enforce this restriction? This particular, so basically they want to disable update and delete operation. So it can be a streaming table. For that one, what we can do, this can be achieved by enabling append only instead of disabling the update and delete. This can be done by using enabling append only properties. I'll show These are the few more properties which we can understand. See, append only, let me check. See, here is the append only. True makes the table append only. Append only table doesn't allow deleting and existing the values. So this can be the question number 20. Which of the following command prints the current working directory in the notebook? Pretty much simple. .sspwd. A data engineering team is using a location keyword in every new delta lake table it is created. In which of the following proposed location? If we are creating using a location, definitely it is going to be a managed table. So option A is going to be not there. Checkpointing schema, this cannot be there. So external should be there, not external table. It's external date table, not database. It's a table. So that's why option is going to be B. Question number 22. A data engineering team has a table order backup that was created using a Delta Lake shallow clone functionality from the order. Recently, the team started getting an error while querying the order backup, indicating that table which data is no longer present. So in the shallow clone, what we do, we create a table just by copying the transaction log, not by copying the whole data. In the deep clone, we also copy the data along with the transaction log. So in that scenario, so if we are saying this one, that data is no longer present, it means that they have run the vacuum command on backup table. That's why we are not seeing that particular data in the table. Or is going to be order table, not on the order main table, that is order table. A data engineer team has a large data lake table named user post, okay, which partition over here column, okay. The table is used as an input streaming source in the streaming job. The streaming query is displayed in the below, okay. So they have the user post table with the year column, this line of code. They want to remove the previous 2 years of data from the table without breaking the append only requirement on the streaming. So here is the scenario. In the streaming table, if we are deleting anything from the table, then table would not be will not be a streamable. To maintain that particular table as a streamable, we have to use option ignore is equal to ignore delete equal to true. That basically says that whatever the data we have deleted, just ignore them and consider we have not deleted anything from the table. Then in that scenario, we can use it as a streaming table. That's why the option is going to be A. A data engineer is working with a large data lake table that has the deletion vector enabled, considering the underlying mechanism delta lake and its handling update. Which of the following statement is accurately described and how? Okay. Deletion vector, what happens if we are updating or deleting the data or anything from the table? It will rewrite the Parquet file, basically. It will create whole Parquet file. But if deletion vector is enabled, it won't overwrite the main actual files. It will just create a new file and mark that data as a deleted. So without overwriting that particular file. Option is going to be B. The deletion vector is enabled. Delete update merge operation mark as modified row without rewriting the main Parquet file. So it will just create a new different file. Question number 25. Which of the following describe the minimal permission in the data engineer modify the permission existing cluster? Here again the permission. In the previous video also we have discussed hierarchy. First is going to be can manage, who will have all the permission. Another one is going to be can restart, who will have an access to terminate and start the cluster. And third one is a can manage, can attach. Can attach will only have an access to view, run the notebook, view the Spark UI, and attach the cluster to the notebook. He won't be able to start or restart the cluster along with the terminate. So they have what they are asking. They are minimal permission data engineer to modify the permission of existing cluster. To modify the cluster configuration, person should have the can manage privilege on the cluster. That's why answer is going to be A. A data engineering team created a new Databricks job for processing sensitive financial data. Okay. The financial analyst asked the team to transfer the owner privilege to the job to the finance group. Okay. A junior data engineer can manage permission on the job, attempting to fully transfer by Databricks job, but it's still failing. Reason is, so here is the scenario. There is a financial analytics team. There is a job, Databricks job, that is run. So financial analytics team wants the ownership of that particular job. That is and they have the finance group. A data engineer is trying to use that particular, but here Databricks job, the fine group cannot be the owner of Databricks job. That's why even if the junior engineer is trying to give the can manage permission to that group, it is failing. So answer is going to be B. Group cannot be the owner of Databricks job. The owner must be individual user. Question number 27. A data engineering team created a new Databricks job for processing sensitive financial data. Okay. The financial entity has to transfer. Okay, this is the same question. My bad. Question number 28. A data engineer is configuring the following database autoloader stream to ingest a JSON data from the S3 bucket. Okay. The pipeline should fail with the new column are detected in the incoming data, but those new columns should still be added to the schema so the subsequent run can be resumed successfully. Here, first thing should be fail. The fail, I have told you, fail should be happen in only add new columns and fail on new columns. For the none and rescue, stream will not be failed. So these two options will be there. Again, the new column detected in the incoming data, but new column should still be added in the schema so that subsequent run can be resumed successfully without updating the schema. Whatever in the new column, it won't detect the new column. It directly straight up the fill. Manually, we have to add the new column on the schema file and then only it will add. But new column, it will automatically add the new column in that particular schema file and it will run. So that is why option is going to be B. A data engineering team has a large delta table named user message with the following schema. Messaging. Okay, so they have these many columns. The message body represents a user message in a free text. The table has the following issue and it's queried with the filter. Which of the following could explain the performance issue? Okay, let's see. The table is not leveraging file skipping because delta lake statistics are not captured on the column of the type string. Okay. The delta table does not leverage file skipping because it is not optimized Z order message body. Okay, data table is not skipping. See, here is the scenario. They are using a string column. And file skipping, if they are saying as file skipping, it means that and they are considering the statistics files. And statistics files, what the statistics file will capture? It will capture the total rows, mean, max, and null rows. So for the string delta file, for the string field, statistic file is going to be uninformative. Correct. So that's why answer is going to be D. Stat file, as I said, stat file cover row count, mean, max, and null. Min, max we cannot be find for the string column. So that's why answer is going to be D. Question number 30. Which of the following describe the minimal permission of data engineers to view the matrix of, again, question. Now in this scenario, they just wanted to show the matrix part. The metric Spark UI can be viewed by, can attach permission also. They don't need any other permission, can manage or can restart. They do not need to restart anything. They just need to see the Spark UI, metrics and Spark. So answer is going to be A, can attach. A data engineering using a for each logic to update the target table. Okay. So they have written the user defined function, they have created the micro batches, and they have to write down this particular query, and we have to write down the code for to run this particular Spark SQL query. Which option is correctly filled in the blank to execute the SQL query in the function runtime below 10.5? So key feature is below 10.5. They have mentioned below 10.5. Here, if the runtime is below 10.5, then we have to use this particular option number C. If runtime is above 10.5, then we have to use this. Is it just an version update? So you can just mimic this question easily. Answer is going to be D. C. The data engineer has defined the following data quality constraint in LDP pipeline. This is the one of the most important question. I get this question. Which clause correctly fills in the blanks immediately to stop the execution when the record is constant? Okay. Let's look it into the documentation first. What exactly we have. So in this one, we have on violation stop, on violation drop row, on violation fail update, on violation fail pipeline. This can be used along with the SQL, as well as we can use with the PySpark syntax. So both the syntax are given. In the warn, for the SQL we can write down the except. For the Python we can write down just the dp.except. What they do? Invalid return to the target. Even if there is anything, it will return to the target. Drop except on violation drop row. Except underscore or underscore row. It drop the invalid return record and it won't return the in the target table. Except on violation fail update. If there is anything data, it will directly fail. It won't write anything and it won't proceed. So we can consider. Please do all these three syntax, SQL syntax as well as Python syntax. You will get at least 2 to 3 questions on this question number based on question number 32. So let's see what they are talking. They won't accept immediately stop the execution. Stop immediately execution. Drop row, it won't stop. Stop is not there. Fail pipeline is not there. So already this option will not be there. Drop and fail is there. Drop, if there is a violation, drop row will drop the row and will continue the execution. On violation, it will stop the execution. So answer is going to be C. Here I also given it a documentation part. You can go there and check out. Question number 30. Again, this is also the important question. I will say I have not get this particular question exactly, but I get some kind of similar question on the delta sharing part. So it is also the important topic for us. So multinational company wants to share a sales analytic data with the both internal Databricks team located in different country and the external consulting partner. So internal Databricks team means that someone who is using a Databricks. An external consulting partner, it means that they are not using anything. They are not using for the Databricks. They are using kind of any other tool for that particular. The internet can access the data via Databricks to Databricks unit. What I said D2D, while external are using open data sharing protocol. So means they are either using some other tool to access that particular data. In the data sharing, I'll just give some brief about the data sharing first. In the data sharing, we'll have the two ways, Databricks to Databricks and open sharing. In the Databricks to Databricks, it can be on GCP or AWS or Azure. It can be on anything. It should be a Databricks code. In this one, we can share the notebook, volumes, Unity catalog, those kind of thing we can share with using a database to Databricks. But in a delta sharing, we cannot share this type. We can only share the delta table over there. In the database to Databricks, both partners should have Databricks. And the delta sharing, open delta sharing, next party will have anything apart from the Databricks. So they are asking about how to does automate difference between D2D sharing and D2O protocol. So here D2D built, we already have the built-in authentication, no need to exchange a token over there. Whereas the delta sharing, we required an external authentication. Because why external authentication? Because they are using some external third-party tool to access the data. So answer is going to be C. Given the following structure streaming query, we have this part table with column, right stream, this thing. Please fill in the way to execute the query macro batches, process data every 2 minutes. To process the batches every 2 minutes, we have to use a trigger processing time equal to 2 minutes. So it is going to be option number C. Question number 35. Which of the following define correctly describe SCD type 0? In the type 0, we usually don't change the data with the SCD1, we overwrite the data. SCD2, we add the column start date, end date, and the flag to denote is the record is active or not. SCD3, we'll add the new column over there. So for the type 0, table change is not allowed. Data engineering team in an analytical firm has started implementing Lakeflow declarative pipeline to process a large-scale data transformation. During a routine code review session, data engineer lead optimize a critical best practice before performing any pipeline run. They must always click a validate button in the notebook associated with the pipeline. The main value. If we created any ADF pipeline, if we have worked on ADF or Databricks, we do debug or validate the pipeline. What the debug or validate do? It won't run the data, but it checks everything, whether the syntax, whatever the code we have written is correct, so that before running we'll get all this information so that we can run it successfully. So answer is going to be D. A data engineering team, see, I told you they will get the multiple option like accept drop, accept drop, accept drop. We are getting these many things. This is a Python syntax. Earlier we have saw SQL syntax. Which of the following describe the result of running the pipeline? In all the four, we are using accept and drop. We are given a three condition. So row violates define that violate define expression are deleted from the bronze sales table. No, it won't delete. Field define filter out only validate row return to the silver table. This can be true. Though valid define expectation are streamed into the silver table, deleted from both the tables. No, it will just ignore the data, filter out the data, and valid rows only return to the silver table. The question number 13. What is the primary purpose of Lakehouse Federation in the data architecture? Lakehouse Federation we use to access the data without migrating from the different source. In some cases, they want a data security. So multiple things are for the data governance. So they do not want to migrate the data. So Databricks come up with the Lakehouse Federation through which we can access the data from other sources without actually migrating data into the Databricks. So this is going to be A. Question number 39. A data engineer team has a delta lake table created with the following query. Okay. They are using the location code. Data engineer wants to drop the table with the following query. Okay. Now they are dropping the customer code. As we are using the location keyword, so it will consider it as an external table. And if we are dropping the external table, then only the metadata will be dropped and data will be still there. So this is going to be D. Only the tables metadata will be deleted from the catalog while the data files will keep in the storage. Perfect. Question number 14. A production environment has a S3 bucket receiving thousands of images files daily with a different format: PNG, JPG, GIF. A data engineer is tasked modifying the streaming ingestion script to ensure only PNG files. So basically, we have to filter out the files. If we have multiple different format, we but we are only interested in the PNG file. Here, if we look at the option, we can clearly say that we can use a path globe filter. Filter should be there, so answer is going to be D. No need to use a cloud files over there, as it is not, we are not using a cloud file for that particular format. A data engineering team has a large delta table named user. A recent query on the table returns some entries with the negative values in the age column. Okay. To avoid this issue and enforce the data quality, a junior data engineer decided to add a check the constraint on the with the table. Okay. They are adding up the constraint with the pair execution fit. If we are adding a constraint on any existing table, then all the values present in that column should check that particular constraint. If any value is not validating that particular constraint, it will fail. So answer is going to be C. The user table already contain row that violates a new constraint. All the existing row must satisfy the constraint before adding into the new table. Question number 42. Which two prerequisites are required to enable automatic liquid clustering on the delta table? Automatic liquid clustering. For the automatic liquid clustering, we must analyze firstly, table should be managed table. Another word is predictive optimization should be enabled, so that based on that one, liquid clustering will get the information for the how the query is working. We'll get the information. So answer is going to be B and E. Let's look it into the documentation. Firstly, prerequisite is automatic liquid clustering. You can enable automatic liquid clustering for the Unity catalog managed delta tables. So first one is this one. Prerequisite is required prerequisite optimization. Automatic key clustering will should be there. Predictive CD predictive optimization for the Unity catalog managed table. This is the one of the thing which we needed. Question number 43. Which of the following technique can a data engineer use to handle a late arriving data? For the late arriving data, we use a watermarking over there. Which of the following statement regarding the delta file leak statistic is not correct? Let's see one by one. Delta leak capture statistic in the transaction log for each added data file. That's true. Transaction log, that's true. Data statistic leverage for a data skipping while executing selective queries. That's true. Statistics are generally uninformative for the string with very high cardinality. Again, that's true. Because as I already said, statistics cover a row, mean, max, and null. Only for information will be there. Or the string mean max will not be work along with the high cardinality is there. Nested field do not count which determine the first variable. That's false. I'll tell you. So take an example. We have the JSON column. Under the JSON column, we have the nested columns over here in the JSON file. So if we have the four columns and four sub columns under that particular column, so it will consider it as a 4 into 4. It won't consider that only as a 4, and it will again calculate the statistic on sub 4 columns. No. What it will do? It will consider 4, that those 4 and those 4, so it will consider it as an 8 columns. So that's why in the statistic it will also consider the nested column. Using a nested column, it first 32 columns will be there. Answer is going to be D. Thank you. We'll get the more question. I'll try to get a more question. So if we have doubt in any of the question, please drop and comment. Do let me know. I'll in the next video I'll cover those your doubts and will or else I'll provide in the solution in the comments only so that you will get an idea of the questions. Also, I'll say all the best for your exams. Please do prepare all the concept, whatever I have covered, whatever I have done on these questions while preparing. Along with that, I'll get multiple questions from these questions only. So be prepared and do let me know. I also drop my email address in the description. So if you have anything, please drop me an email or drop a comment. Please do like, share, subscribe, share with your friends so that they will help to pass the certification exam. Thank you.